Hello, I'm Callum Murray, and for the BRU's latest podcast, I spoke to Marie-Laure Brunet about mental health in biathlon. Marie-Laure is a French former biathlete, twice an Olympic medalist, and now a mental health coach who works with athletes to optimise and activate their potential, while helping them to overcome the obstacles they may face. Stay tuned. Marie-Laure, welcome to this BRU podcast, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you to invite me to this podcast. I'm really happy to share some information and my point of view about mental health.
So yes, as you say, the topic of the podcast interview is mental health, and I wanted to start by asking you, what does mental health in sports mean to you?
First of all, mental health in sport today is not an option. Federations and coaches have to maintain the mental and physical integrity to the athletes. Mental health is definitely a key of performance. I think any athlete who wants to perform must take into account the mental approach at the same level as physical preparation.
So in training, you're saying that it's as important to concentrate on your mental health as your physical health.
Yeah, for sure, because finally, everybody train really well, but the part of athletes who prepare really well the mental aspect are, I think, nowadays a bit not too much.
Are people becoming more aware of mental health issues in sport than they were?
Yeah, for sure. I can now I'm mental coach, and I coach around 25 athletes and trainers too. And for sure, I can see people are more aware, but it depends of sports and the culture of the sports.
So what signs might indicate that an athlete or anyone else in biathlon is experiencing mental health difficulties?
I think the signs might indicate someone is experiencing mental health difficulties are, first of all, a change of behavior and mood, also a loss of joy, sleeping disorder, and we can also see not stable results and underperformances.
And if you or if anyone in biathlon sees such indications, what should they do if they suspect that a teammate or even an opponent is facing mental health challenges?
If you suspect someone is facing mental health challenges, it's important to try to speak with the athlete or the person who is challenging, and inform the athlete staff, like trainers, and especially the medical staff.
And are medical staff now generally trained to deal with mental health issues as well as physical health issues?
I think today more and more people are sensitive about it, but it's not enough, and it depends of country, federations, and the environment. So I think it's really disparate according federation and sport.
So what steps should authorities, and I'm thinking of coaches, team leaders, and even federations, what steps should they take to prevent mental health problems occurring for their athletes?
Firstly, thanks to all tools and performance data recorders available in sport today, it allows to easily implement monitoring process for the athlete's global health. Secondly, staff and trainers should be trained to detect and identify mental health difficulties, but my point of view, they should also be trained to an efficient management in order to not generate mental disorder troubles with their management style, because it's also a reality.
Whose responsibility is it, do you think, to pick up on or be aware of mental health issues among athletes particularly?
I think the responsibility, it's mainly the federation responsibility. Is the federation who asked to train them coaches, and now the International Federation, the IBU, I find it's really a leader on this point, and because they propose a lot of subjects and a lot of webinar, podcasts about different subjects. So I think it's also the International Federation work.
So talking now about yourself, what's your own experience of mental health challenges in biathlon?
I had many mental health challenges during my career. First of all, I think biathlon and the professional sport in general are very demanding. Personally, I was a too hard worker. It's a good point, but sometimes I kept focused my whole time on biathlon, which was too much and led me to burnout. I should have taken more and longer rest time. That is a fact. It's a reality. But I was young and with a limited experience. I didn't know how to step back a little bit. I was not conscious of my global situation, and nobody around me was able to see how bad I was and alarm me. So that was a constant, and it has lasted for months, even years, until I went to burnout. I eventually collapsed during the Olympic female relay in Sochi. I was evacuated on a stretcher, and I only realized at this moment the severity of the situation. So that was challenges I have to fight.
And so your collapse was caused by a mental health burnout rather than a physical burnout, was it?
Finally, I think it's a mix between physical difficulties and mental difficulties, and it's always complicated to know which one begin in first, if it was the mental or the physical, because both are related.
Do you think you were showing signs of that problem before your collapse? Are there signs that people should have seen, could have picked up on?
Yeah, for sure. We received many signs from 2 years maybe, because I was not at the 100% of my capacity, of my potential. But it's like if nobody wants to see the reality. And I was the first person who had to see that, but it was really complicated to me to see, okay, I am in difficulty, so I prefer to say no, nothing happened. And finally, even my coaches are like, nobody see that. So it was complicated.
If you were in that situation now, what signs do you think you would pick up on that you didn't have the experience to pick up on then?
I think if I had a career now again, for sure, I would work with a mental coach. I would communicate more about my needs and also my feelings. It's a really important point for athletes who listen to this podcast. It's important to say, hey, I need help. So it's the first point. And I would integrate into my training how much rest time it's really important. So I think all these points are important for me now.
And diet, is that also an issue, do you think? What you eat, can that contribute to these kinds of problems?
Yeah, thank you, Callum, for this really interesting question. I think for sure, diet and what you eat, it's really important because it's directly impact your brain and your connection. So that's a really important point. And today, when I'm mental coach athlete, I also send them to a specialist of diet, because I think it's a global vision, and for the performance and just for mental health, it's really important.
Where can athletes and others in biathlon go to find out more about maintaining good mental health?
It's a good question, Callum. I can just say reach out Marie-Laure Brunet, because now it's my job. But if I'm not available, some sports federation provide a list of mental coaches and psychologists. So it's important to contact federation or some people who can be able to say some information about this.
And last question, Marie-Laure, do you have any tips for athletes to help them to maintain good mental health during what is always a stressful season?
Yeah, during a stressful season, it's really important to listen to your needs and dare to take some time off, just to rest or to think about small things which make you feeling happy and good. I think it's the key to have a successful season and to not finish the season totally exhausted.
Marie-Laure, it's been great to talk to you. Really interesting to talk about mental health issues. I think athletes think about and talk a lot about their physical health, but maybe not enough about their mental health. So thank you.
Thank you.